Okay, I think we can start the sharing of the topic for today. Is actually 5D BIM workflow. And the subtopic is actually target for progress claim and VO management. That is a webinar series sharing of Golden. Okay, before get to start the topic, let me introduce myself. I'm wearing exactly the outfit for today. I'm Lisa here. And to be very simple introduction, is actually my 12th year living in Singapore. So before Singapore, I was in Shenzhen for 10 years. And I used to be in HR. And I changed myself to learn how to do self-shop. That was in 2005 when I see my sales manager who demonstrated great quality in front of me. That's how I got started to learn to change my career back in 2005. Well, that's a little bit long story. Before my time in Singapore, you can see that I actually spent half of the years, totally exactly 6 years for today. And it's my actually 6 years anniversary. I was joking with Yuan Zhong opposite me. 23rd September, 6 years ago, I started construction related, 5D BIM related works at Golden Singapore. Okay, I do not wish to share you all with a title of myself. I thought title is really not important, but I have been working together with clients and partners from main contractors, whether they are Japanese, Chinese, Korean, local, international companies. And I do have some consultants and government organizations to take care of the communication, the information sharing as well. So I would target to keep learning to do better for 5D implementation together with you all. Well, what else about myself I would like to share you all a little bit more apart from my full-time job. Well, I have been nagging on my colleagues about health. So I am actually a health and nutrition advisor. I believe you guys understood clearly health is wealth. And I did went for a personal trainer certification by HFT SG. And my coach is a lady coach. She is ex-champion of gymnastics in Singapore or Southeast Asia. So I have learned a lot from her, understanding the in-depth about health, and actually a little bit muscle were making us younger and stronger. Well, I do also always wish to share how can we enjoy work and life together. Or when I see customers and see my colleagues, and I believe you guys also agree with me, happy people making happy results. Okay, that's actually today's agenda. We list down for 9 points. Actually, the main content is very simple. And number 5 would be what we are talking about today, a CubiCost 5D BIM workflow. Well, before we start to do something, let us learn to ask about the why. Why 5D BIM? Why we are talking about 5D BIM always? Let me just adjust a little bit on the graphical so that I can see the slides a little bit better. And I'm just giving you all 4 main points here on the intelligence, visualization, integration, and analytical points. You can see I highlighted a few subtitles over there. By using intelligent function, we can actually achieve accurate quantity curve with rules and calculations, and we can minimize human errors. To be very honest, you won't be possibly avoiding 100% human errors. Visualization is that we QS can visualize the quantity, and we are able to trace quantity and cost for easy checking and reverse checking. Whereby integration nowadays, we know many of the projects are developed with 3D BIM model, but how can we extend the 3D BIM model value to serve the downstream purpose, like 4D, today we're talking about 5D purpose, and we don't want to do the repeat works. As for analytical reports, you guys also understand data-driven. Data collection will be very important so that you will be able to use the accurate data for better decision making. Okay, as we move forward, every one of us has been affected by COVID. In fact, Singapore isn't getting better. We are really hoping things to be better. And eventually, Singapore is going to be, stay resilient because the COVID affection to every industry. And I have these slides showing to you all on a new definition, or maybe shouldn't be a new definition by Mr. Eugene Shah. His team and some team with Savannah Jurong is also using CubiCost. He shared us construction overcoming virus in digital solutions. And back in 3 years ago, 2019, March, he also shared at his point of view at our live event. That was really before COVID. Well, for myself, I actually understood, or I feel so much that we are lacking of connections, human connections with many of you all, clients, partners. We can't see each other. Sometimes communication gets tougher. Well, we are having a very short topic of the Ds. I believe many of you have seen over the internet, if you guys use LinkedIn. So from 3D to 5D, that's actually we are mentioning today. I will just highlight over the 5D sector. You guys can see that automated quantity takeoff or automate quantity quantification, calculate quantity at the press of a button by using some digital tools. You also can see that under 5D, you have so many things to take care. If we just, break down into the trees, architectural, structural, rebar with details, MEP, all services, and we got to do the quantity and costs. From the QSS who actually feedback to us, 5D sector is actually a lot of work to be done and time consuming, and a lot of times we can avoid the headaches. And I also noticed that recently on some job listing on website for hiring QSS, wow, the pages of requirements and conditions to meet is very long. I can't read all of them, and I was like, oh, being a QS is really not easy. Just this morning, I listened to one of the books mentioning about automation. Actually inspired me on that definition on automated works. People might think that, is there a software, a tool, a solution that I throw my drawing inside, I get everything out? in real world, that is not possible to happen. So what is automation is that a perfect combination of human and technology and tools. So our hands will be using the tools, and how best we can use the tool, that makes us a difference between traditional QS who must still stay in the old school way. Well, I did also extract a sample requirement, contract requirement of LTAs on 5D. I did highlight some in red boxes. You can see that you go to do the extraction of quantity for progress claims. And it has to be accurate with efficient progress claim process. And LT do also require BIM training, whether from what solution and software they will leave normally the main contractor to decide. So I did also a summarize contract requirement. Number one is that accurate representation and cost model. Revit importing direct integration into CubiCost with SMM2, you can achieve that. Number two, you must produce monthly 5D progress claim digitally. And TS is actually design, progress claim, and VO recorded construction module. So we tailored setting functions to let project QS benefit from 5D. And number three, as for BIM training and hands-on support, we have very detailed online basic training. We also have hand-holding support, whether we can do face-to-face or online nowadays is very easy. Well, many of you guys must have heard, or some of you guys are new today, not heard about CubiCost solutions and what are the tools to help us to achieve 5D. Let me give you an overview on the solutions that CubiCost Singapore and Golden International branches has it. Number one, I have to mention is that CubiCost TAS for the taking off of architectural, structural, and finishes. So we have concrete, formwork, and finishes quantity produced in TAS. We do also have a separated module called rebar or TRB. It takes care of detailed rebar quantity takeoff. And we do also have MAE systems to do for helping MAE QSs. And for that, all the quantities can be linked to TBQ with live linking from quantity to cost. You might think, why not use Excel? The good thing is, when you have build up this link, when you do auto syncing and update changes, you don't need to worry, hey, my quantity will be same goes to costing or not. So how should I separate all the data to be very, accurate? And whenever I need to trace and track, I need to find out when did I make that change. Actually, CubiCost gives all the reports, all the indications you can easily see. So when you want to do a check-in, you can also do reversely checking. QS have no choice to do reporting and presenting purpose for like claim and meetings with your clients and PDs and PMs and company-wise. That's a lot of things to do. Let me also share with you all on the CubiCost interoperabilities. Basically, it's actually about 2D drawings and 3D drawings, all importable, reusable by CubiCost. And with all that drawing sources, we will actually move next step to make it a cost model. So for 2D drawing wise, of course, CubiCost will be able to allow QS to use some other tools to create that model. However, for project QS, we don't have to do that if your BIM model is ready. And I did also have some governmental organization shared on a Corner Act, which will be, starting anew by year 2025. there's an open BIM submission by IFC. CubiCost is also taking care. Well, the built-in slide, the built-in calculation rules are actually having so many in CubiCost. If we come into Singapore, we are talking about SMM2 and CV97, and we have Eurocodes in the rebar. We have Continental Steelbook for steel structuring dimensions and data built in the software. And if we actually have the TS to install, you will come into this window to choose what are the calculation rules you want to install. So for Singapore, we go for CV97 and SMM2. So for Malaysia, for Indonesia, for Australia, for many other places, we do also have the rules written into the CubiCost system. So with that, later on, you will be able to see about TS overview. You can get concrete quantity, concrete volume. Formwork is actually separated into overheight, side formwork, and bottom formwork. You'll be getting detailed finishes quantity. That's normally occupies 40% of the project cost. And you will be able to come up a rebar ratio by having your own technique study data. Of course, for CubiCost, we do not give any data to for you to use. You guys are going to take that, accuracy responsibilities. With that, SMM2 and CV97 for Singapore purpose, you will be able to see auto deductions. You will be able to enjoy a visualization check-in of 3D deductions and also calculation formulas. At the right side, I have some main items to share with you guys. For Singapore, we do have a sector called precast, and we are able to do PPVC, just like Lego. We group, combine, copy and paste in CubiCost during tender stage. Of course, project stage, again, we are talking about using Revit model. And as for steel structure, we are able to do that. And that's actually the recent updates of CubiCost TS 2021 version. As for finishes, we actually use a room concept. And yeah, room concept, as we are talking about finishes, recent finding with some projects we are supporting is if the modeling team has modeled all the finishes in Revit, of course, CubiCost will be able to rate. However, many of them do not model into that detail. I believe many of you working from modeling and construction industries, you've heard about it. The purpose of modeling is actually for drawings. So they added the parameter of finishes into the Revit model. How QS can reuse that? Actually, TS has a function or has a solution to regenerate finishes entity by using Revit parameters. However, if the modeler missed to draw or to add, of course, you don't get a quantity. So that is information flow in and flow out. Staircase is we have gotten a faster way to do that comparing to just CubiCost itself 3 years ago, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. Ramp, we also have good ways to do that. And for next, I will actually share with you all about an overall understanding of rebar on the quantity takeoff. So again, I would use example of Singapore. We used to have UPS codes, and now we have Euro codes, or actually should be in 2004, a compulsory transform from BS to Euro codes. So in Euro codes, we're talking about bond condition, good bond, poor bond. And for rebar, we go to set up tension, compression, anchorage, and lapping. And all these, we have a table in TRB that you can look into it. Every project, go according to general notes to set up precisely. And you do also able to calculate even additional bar, trimmer bar, and you are able to use construction joints to come up certain quantity that is partially done, and you do enjoy auto deductions. And there is a reference BBS that you guys can refer to. However, in the real construction stage, the detailers, the subcontractors to do the rebar will be different to consider site installation situation. So that's about a general understanding about TRB. And for CubiCost itself, since these two solutions are both having a structure, in fact, we can actually communicate. You don't need to do double work. Let's see, we have the rebar structure model done with rebar detail quantity. We can actually bring into TS to generate concrete volume and all formwork automatically. Of course, you proceed to do finishes, you will be getting the quantities of finishes. If we are talking about a project flow, you will be actually flow a different way. I will share later. When we have quantity of from TS and TRB, so we have all the building quantities, building trees quantity, how are we going to manage the data? So I believe many companies, Roden as well, back to a few years ago, our data is like, oh, we only have gotten the Excels, but when we want to see things updated version, how can we get to sorted and arranged and make use of it? And nowadays, you might able to use data to explain an interesting story. And in TBQ, you can achieve that while linking the quantities done from TS and TRB, and you will be even able to see some chart graph for cost analysis. Well. There are times, actually just yesterday, somebody called me. I share about this webinar. He's a BIM manager from consulting role. He mentioned that normally the revenue model isn't ready for some of the projects, building site. So can you still achieve 5D? We, CubiCost, actually able to use drawings of 2D. You will have black and white. You might have AutoCAD drawing, construction drawing. All these can actually go into CubiCost TS, and you will be able to build up a 3D model like this. So how are we going to do that? Basically, just pick the line and convert it into entity, cost entities. So for that, I may not be able to share with you all with some technical demo today. If you guys want to find out more, can later on share with me, and we can share some demo material or give you a live demo online or simply face-to-face meetings. So for that, we have come into the topic of 5D BIM workflow. How does it run in CubiCost? And give me just a little while. Okay, I just had a little bit coffee and water, so we start the important part of 5D BIM workflow. Well, with that slide, you guys can understand we have actually proposed this workflow to certain organizations, main contractors, according to the contract requirements. So from the left side, we have actually a revenue model, whether MRT stations or building projects, again, has to be Revit. So we'll actually import Revit model into TES and proceed to go to TRB. We get rebar quantity. Of course, QS need to do the work. You won't get 100% automatic, to be very, very honest with you all. So from all the quantity linked to TBQ, we will be able to have the data to calculate work done percentage. I understand from LT projects, just mentioning LT projects, maybe Jurong region line. QS will BLP, the plan, they will then distribute the costs into cost loads, or you can call it a project BQ or project overall cost control file. And with the workflow, you are able to achieve work done percentage calculation, and you will have a better overall cost controlling and monitoring. Well, if I'm the main com, of course, I would wish to get as much as possible for the budget for the to make the project run, and I will not want to overpay my subcontractors. That is how we need to do a proper digital tracking of the data. So the flow is BLP cost load to work done percentage. So solutions you can use TS, TRB, TBQ. Well, I do have a video over here. My video might be slightly long, but I still wish to run a video to share with you all the main steps. So inside the interface TES, we take the model, we import it. We just need to give a reference floor. Normally we use level 1 or MRT stations using entrance level. And we just match the attributes simply by 3 steps. We actually import everything in. So with that process, if you proceed to calculate, you will get quantity of concrete, volume of formwork, as well as finishes quantities inside TES. But again, what about rebar quantities? I've heard from projects, governmental projects now allows main contractors to claim rebar fluctuation costs, so that you have to have very detailed quantity calculated and able to present. So over here, we are using Revit produced BIM schedule as an example. We match the attribute by using BIM marking name. You can see if we did the sorting, the BIM marking name and the element list will be the same. So what do we do next? We will be actually exporting this model as cubic own file. We only export this level 1 for the testing purpose. And then we are going to import it into TRB so that the reuse of model QS do not need to do repeat work. So now we come to the white interface with the blue logo TRB. We import that model. This time we don't import Revit. And then we will be able to have the model in place. And what are we going to do? We bring the general notes with the rebar details and with the BIM schedules, and we're going to do something. I'm going to hold and let you guys see. So if we proceed to just to see one of the BIM, do you get rebar quantity? You don't, because we didn't key in the data. But we also don't want to let QS do so many manual keying of works. That's really tedious, and many of the situation, you guys don't have the quiet time like us. We are looking in a small meeting room today. So we will be reusing BIM schedule. We take example 1HB27, 1HB28. We're going to do what? We're going to do importing of Revit produced BIM schedule. You can see the format is actually Excel. Of course, in this stage, you are able to bring in a PDF. I'm just adding on. Later on, maybe somebody have a question. Okay, that is the part that human needs to work together with machine or technology tools. You got to do nominating. You got to nominate. You got to tell software, this column of data, what is that? How software would be able to, to synchronize, to match. That is the things that QS need to do. Is that difficult to do? I don't think so. Just take the, the table side by side and just do, maybe 1 minute quiet work, putting away your phone, and maybe you want to silent mode, and then you get the nomination of data done for BIM schedule over here. If you do a checking, you can see the list: continuous BIM, single BIM. It is exactly the same. Important button. We will be sync BIM information into the entity. So in CubiCost, the entity is called it means cost model. So a model with quantity data for QS. So after we sync successfully, we actually come back to see the rebar again. Now we do a calculation. I think you guys already see some of the data indicated over there. Let's view a rebar 3D. So you already seen some of the rebar 3D inside the column, inside the beam. And you might be asking, that is actually continuous beam. So in TRB, we can just do some simple merging. Now, recalculate. You'll be actually getting the rebar quantity with 3D view with lapping to connect two of the beams. Well, if you talk about vertical elements like column, it will be similar ways. Walls will be also similar ways as well. I can see that our time comes to 3:30. I actually having a slightly longer video over here. Let me jump a little bit. Let me jump a little bit to share with you all a flow by using just one slide. When I share later with you all on the videos, I will share a full version. So to be simplified on the flow is step 1, step 2, and step 3. We take E4 demarcation as one of the examples. So we have the cost model E4. In CubiCost TS, we will have the quantity under E4, and we will have rebar also under E4. And then we can lively link the quantity to contract quantity, to monthly claim quantity. Okay, you can see some green nodes of TS, right? That is actually a node indicated to show QS my quantity of 526.12 comes from TS. If you double click that cell, you actually goes back into TS to see what are the objects, what are the cost model contributed this quantity. So with that short slides, I hope that you guys understand much easier. Yeah, my video is slightly longer, including many more things. As for time constraints, I don't wish to play everything over here. Okay, I was mentioning a tailored feature in TAS we call construction module. What are those for project QS? For maybe BIM managers and BIM modelers to look into it on the overall management of BIM workflows. With the model, how can we extend the 3D value to benefit project QS for progress claim submissions? We actually designed the function pretty new only this year. We call it segmentation. Under segmentation, you are able to do subcontracting, progress claim, and you can even customize how some special things that QS need to do. So you can see with the model, we actually do the importing, we get a quantity, but this time we're actually wanting to do some progress claim. We do the segmenting, segregate. And once we just draw a box to segregate, we put claim number 1, automatically we are getting column, beam, wall, slab on the volume, and formworks. Of course, we finish this, we also got 38. So if we proceed to do number 2, we gotten the same. You might ask, in between that line, how you want to choose. Actually, you can flexibly tick and untick what are the elements that is under claim number 1, what are the elements that will be claim number 2 for next month. So as for sharing with you all on a short video how the segmentation works, you can pick what are the elements that you want to claim. That is actually for LT project will be go according to activity ID and displayed, distribute into the cost log according to BLP and demarcation plan. You will be able to produce and calculate work done percentage. Then you understand for the claim, how are you going to claim for January, February, or nowadays, next month, October. And you will be able to have an overall view for the whole project. I wish to share a little bit, maybe QSS over here already have certain understandings. We noticed that LT actually having a fixed work done percentage given to main contractors. You have to achieve, let's say 25%. If you achieve 24%, you can't get 25. And the next is actually 50%. If you achieve 40%, you can't claim 40%. You're going to go down to 25%. So for that, TBQ also have some ways to take on it, whereby maybe HDB and maybe JTC and some other developers, clients, they will be allowing main contractors to claim based on actual work done. So for that, you guys have seen the short steps, how to do the segmentation. For next, we are proceeding to revisions. Well, for revisions, I personally had some experience by measuring formworks. I could use the rulers and measure some data. And my manager asked me to do that. That was actually 5-6 years ago, before joining Golden. Then I start to doubt. I told my manager, hey, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident for that quantity I measured. Please use it carefully. So it's really very hard to spot the changes with bare eyes. And you got to take off the quantity. Would be another trouble. And you got to think, you will really think, have I considered all the changes? Did I miss out anything? How do I actually compare them easily, and I got to report to my managers and to my bosses? So how do I even present and get verified and talked easily, digitally, efficiently? Are you really only having a choice to go manual? May not be. Oh, I believe you guys have seen that photo. 5 before AutoCAD. Project QSS, are you all still doing that today? I'm just a question, okay? Okay, revisions. How do we do that? With 2 of the drawings, TS having a way to help you auto-compare revision drawings. And then you can easily edit the modeling, or you can just delete off and remodel according to the drawings. For that small portion of modeling, won't be taking you so much of the time. If you're having rapid changes, you are able to manage by using a function called RVT changes as well. And then you will be able to get instant results on edit quantity, change quantity, and deleted quantity. And you have it for before and after. Is that what you guys will be needed for Project QSS? Well, we do have some videos. Maybe I skip the video part as I'm going to share the recording as well, and probably slides if there's anything we clear on the on the information sharing. So it's actually easy to do that steps to match join or to compare join to get quantity of before and after. So as for TS construction module, main function is segmentation, revision. We are able to import Revit native file with 100% information and able to manage Revit changes. We come to understand a few project cases. Case number one, we use one of the MRT station. So in Revit model, you have something like this. And simply just import it. You get overall quantity, but if you want to get the progress claim quantity with even some color codes indication for easy presenting and verification, you will be able to achieve progress claim reports like right side, I have claim number one, under which subcontractor, under which floor, the element names, volume, and the area of formworks. So that's one particular example for MRT station. A lot of you guys might come from our clients' companies and whereby main projects actually housing or commercial projects. So we use one of the building project to show you all. That will be actually the 5D BIM progressive BIM cost model. And you can submit it for easy valuation and assessment. And the benefits, very simple. It's actually a simplified way of checking, go according to BIM ID for quantity and cost. Just now you guys have also seen I showed checking and reversely checking. And you will be able to generate work done percentage according to quantity details for an in-depth review. Of course, I do hear from not only main call and client side, hey Lisa, our contract is lump sum. If our project is 1 million, I won't pay over 1 million. Yes, yes, yes. But every claim you still check very carefully, right? You don't want to you don't want your budget to burst, or you want a better control of project costs and better monitoring, right? Yeah, you can do that, and you don't need to worry that you need to do so much extra work to achieve that. By solution, you already automatically have it. Why not? Well, yes, CubiCost TBQ with the data linked, you will be able to achieve some automatic reports like project summary by element codes, by tree codes. These for building, you have to, you guys will definitely use that very often, am I right? And we have project summary by bureau as well. So all these are automatic if you have done your fundamental works. We come to the practical implementation. Let me drink some water, sorry. I actually remember some of the stories when after joining Golden in 2015, September 23rd. In 2016, I went to many of the M&E contractors. Some of them are big, some of them are doing building and M&E as well. And one day I give a phone call to Mr. Ivan, I just don't mention. And he actually talked to me like this: Lisa, your job is tough. I said, yes, my job isn't so easy. And he added again, your job is not sales. You are doing educational job. By that time, I was like, what? Okay. But over the years, I feel it. And I understood from many users, managers, and bosses, implementation. How do we actually do a practical implementation? That is really educational job, I would say that. As I'm also teaching my children of P4 and P1, two of them. I train them to read. So myself also reading a lot of books, and I found some of the important, simple advice that is applicable to everyone, everything. I would say that. Number one, go slow. I also tell myself, if you are going to present publicly, don't talk too fast. People may not understand you. So we really got to learn to, cool down our mind, slow it down a little bit, like sloth. When I think of slow, my immediate fear is thinking about sloth. When we watch that movie, we was the keyboard have yet to touch. But imagine if every key touch is of effective. Is that better than anyone else that you don't do anything? Advice number two, stretchable. Why would I say it's something like elastic? By stretching ourselves, the edge of your every one of us, we're telling our colleagues and sons, hey, you don't your comfort zone, but you are they always the can make it. Many of them between stretch a little bit to half an hour. Just do the. Sorry, I think we are experiencing a little bit. Let's try again. We are not sure what happened. I would wish to do that better next time. We come to advice number three is that in Chinese, we have seen, or I would say many of us surely understand this phrase, sharpening our axe before chopping the wood, or we call it is a direct translation, sharpening your axe will not delay your job of chopping wood. And you do also see even Mr. Abraham Lincoln says, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. And I personally feel that so much from our clients, whether from QS, from manager level of contract, tender, BIM, project manager, of course, like project directors, you might not even get them, difficult to talk to them. Take maybe 5 minutes to think today, are you guys spending some time to sharpen your axe so that next time you can achieve something faster? Let's say you do the progress claim. Will you have to wait until a day that you need to rush? And I actually just a QS friend, or is from one of our clients who called me last night, very late, 11 plus. She texts me, Lisa, are you okay to talk now? I just slept already, but I remember something. I jumped up to do a note so that today I remember. I was thinking, yeah, okay, let's talk. She shared a story that one day she has to stand in front of the computer for 12 hours just to rush one claim. You know what happened? She was pregnant 35 weeks. That night, she has to rush to hospital. And I was thinking I may burst into tears last night because I'm a mother. So I don't want to talk so much about that. It's really, and afterwards, she resigned from the company she worked for over 5 years. And yeah, she jumped to a new job, but I'm not sure whether she's happy at the new job yet or not. So number 3, that's advice number 3. Well, every one of us must have some rewards to taste the sweet success. But if we don't learn to embrace the change, what happens? What is waiting for us? The world is keep on changing faster than we thought. We don't know how many cases in Singapore tomorrow. We don't know. We just got to be careful today, minimize our, meetings. We don't go any place. Just, maybe just take a cab from home to office if you have to. For us, it's half of us in office, and our service team is online. So we used to also have our service team sharing webinars. However, COVID really made us a lot busier than usual. We're going to support more of the end users online. Hey, I'm taking this job. I hope my sharing isn't so bad. And as I mentioned about service and support, QS or end users and managers and bosses, you guys are never alone if you're on board with CubiCost. Whether you use PSG funding, whether it's a company-owned investment, we do give very detailed basic trainings. We used to have a physical big training room. Anyway, we never use that. It's a new place. And we are using Zoom live classroom to allow end user still able to follow the trainer step by step with operational, steps. And we do also did our very new online training platform with the section by section videos. You can recap every time you forgot about how to do BIM, rebar. Go back to repeat that video. Do it slowly, step by step. You get it, and move on to wall, slab, and other elements. We do also provide project guidance. We call project guidance. You guys may understand as advanced training or technical support. We can do online. Of course, there are times we will go down face to face. And if you are rushing for a tender, you might have to text us by 10 o'clock. We will be able to reply you if we are there. And since last year, we also added the daily Q&A number by using WhatsApp. Anything that you run into help needed, just message us, and someone is there waiting to reply you. If that person is busy, you might wait for a little while. Otherwise, the response is immediate. We used to have some seminars at hotel events and industry events with SISB and maybe some other organizations. Nowadays, we are trying to do webinars by sharing industry information, BIM knowledge that we have gotten in our new product launch to allow QS with immediate access on the new tools to apply into the tenders and projects. Well, we almost come to the end of my sharing today. And I read an article from Mr. Eugene again. He has been sharing a lot of meaningful articles about QS and cost management on this topic quantity surveyors will be a key arbiter of sustainable and smart city technology. There's a link. If you wish to find out, you can read that. And his comments is coming from 3 generations of quantity surveyor, manual, 2D, and 3D. They really went through. I feel that there is a lot that QS can contribute. Not only the quantity and cost, but in many other things, areas. So we come to a Q&A session. Forgive me today. You guys can actually drop your questions at the chat box. Let me just review it. Yes, today we experienced a little bit connection issue. We're going to fix that, Yuan Chong. I didn't expect that. I hope you guys didn't feel bad so much. Yep, I see Lin Shi. Lin Shi is there. Any questions you guys, yep, just a recap. And today's session is about 5D BIM workflow. It's really based on our recent findings. I've shared about how to sync BIM schedule, how to regenerate finishes quantity. Those from tender QS team might never heard about it. Yeah, Tony, from Vietnam, says that we found that MEP is not having popular user and presentation. You know what? We're going to launch TME on 14th October. We will be launching mechanical, electrical, plumbing, sanitary first to allow MEP QSs to use first. We may be adding fire treats very fast over the later few months. And you will be able to see our posts from LinkedIn. If you follow Golden Singapore or Golden SCA, any of the branch, is 14th October. I was thinking to add that slide today, but I was thinking today our topic is about 5D workflow. Okay, I have actually seen some questions. And by IFC model, irregular shape, and from Cheryl, I believe she's a BIM professional. It's a very good question. IFC is actually one of the early BIM integration tool that CubiCost TS has back to 5 years ago or back to 10 years ago. However, IFC will result some information loss, especially formwork. Because formwork, you got to categorize more detailedly for overheight formwork, bottom formwork, side formwork, according to SMM2. So if you have that, Cheryl, I would wish that you can contact me to share that IFC model on the irregular shape to share with us. We will give you realistic reply. Like roads, we have to really see if you are talking about roads and like drainages of civil engineering, viaducts and all that. And normally you might know, I heard some of them are using like civil 3D. They didn't even use a Revit. Or maybe PUB project, they use a Bentley. They have different project file. They are called BIM file. However, if we are going to use open BIM file, we have to really see the source of the BIM information. Certain solution providers, developers, they are not open their connections to the next stage. That is actually a problem among the solution developers. They're trying to protect the technologies. Well. It was a tech breakthrough that we were able to read Revit native file. We actually spent about 2 years time for doing mapping programming, coding, matching for QS purpose, and we did last year with a few project testing. Only when we feel comfortable, confident, we release, launch to users. So Cheryl, I wish that you can drop me an email. We can look into your irregular shape of road to give you realistic answer. I hope that is okay for you. And I've seen another question for the purpose of sharing model, cost model to third party that is not a CubiCost user, and he or she might not be a QS. And for that, what we can do is we might send a project file, but you do need the software license and software to view. We actually have something new that I'll talk over here. Is actually CubiCost Cloud. You can share CubiCost model TAS model file. You can allow third party to view it, to zoom in, to giving comments, and you guys are seen on the same platform, CubiCost Cloud. I will drop you guys a link later, and you can explore for 20 GB free. Can try it out. And it's very simple functions for using CubiCost Cloud to share model files for viewing purpose. Let's say you have a project, you can even organize a project space over CubiCost Cloud. I believe next year we will be even having more of the updates under CubiCost Cloud. Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. I've seen your reply. Any other questions, feel free to ask as we are coming to 4:06.